Hey, two-laners, we are super excited to show you Cobra USA. We're here in Yorba Linda, California. I've been to this facility, and I'm really excited for you, Lance, to see what's going on. I'm as excited for them to see it as well. Pretty cool.
Well, I'm excited because now I'm going to see how my exhaust was made. And it's quality, it's good stuff. I love the sound. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time in there. Cameron's gonna give us a tour and we're stoked.
Yep. So we'll see you inside. Let's
see
go
you
see
inside.
Cameron.
Let's go. So this is really fantastic. Yeah. We're here at Cobra USA, and what the heck are we gonna do?
Yeah, guys, we're in Yorba Linda, California.
A land of gracious living.
That's right. And we are here with Camron Bussard, that is part of Cobra as well. So Cameron, could you tell us a little bit about Cobra and
Sure.
how many years it's been in business?
We started in 1977, believe it or not. So we've been around a long time. We've done everything from ATV pipes. One of our early products is called the Sparky. Anybody who had a dirt bike in the 80s had to have a spark arrestor, and we sold millions of those things.
And it was called the Sparky?
The Sparky.
I like
the Sparky
that.
spark arrestor. It's really a great product. But we've been doing cruiser parts and Harley parts for 20 years now. Been in this building since 2002. It looks like we just moved in, but we've been here for at least, well, from 2002. And this building was built to make motorcycle parts. It wasn't a building that we just moved into and adapted. We had it built specifically to make the products that our customers get.
That's awesome. We love that.
Yeah. So what are you going to show us today?
We're going to show you how we make a lot of stuff. We're going to show you kind of the flow through. We're going to show you some accessories, some racks, some exhausts, and you'll be able to pick them up in the raw form and see what they look like.
That's going to be great. So let's get down in the warehouse. So this really pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, this is really awesome.
It was designed, these were supposed to be galleyways to put motorcycles and things in, but Tim doesn't like things on the walls. So
but the art's on the floor.
It's on the floor.
Right.
He likes that crisp, clean look.
Nice.
So do we. That's very cool.
Hey, so Cameron, we're here in the back half of the shop.
That's right.
Is this where it all begins?
Everything happens here. Everything comes in this door as a raw material. So either tube or bar or flat stock, it all starts right here.
Awesome.
Let's take a tour.
Yeah.
Let's go here first. So much of what we do is tube for mufflers or cores. So we have this machine that cuts perfect parts. So when the product comes out of here, every piece is exactly the same. It's been chamfered and deburred, so this piece is ready to go to work for whatever process comes next for it. So everyone is exactly the same. There's no inconsistency. So that's the start of our tube products, and we're going to come over here to another machine called the laser and show you what it does. So pretty much all of the brackets, all of the other pieces, small pieces, flat stock that we do gets cut on the laser, but everything gets cut here. So our side plates and side brackets, like a sissy bar, it starts here. The laser not only cuts out the machine, it cuts out any of the bolt holes, so you don't have to drill holes in it. And this, with minor polishing, is ready to go. And again, the key thing is, it makes every one of these exactly the same, so we know that this is going to fit. And that's one of the things we hear from dealers and customers all the time, is the Cobra stuff is easy to install and it fits perfectly. So,
how often do you have to calibrate? Is it like a monthly, or is it pretty solid?
It's pretty robust. We actually end up making the beds that the steel fits on, because as you cut the metal, it drips down onto the bed that holds the sheets in place, the steel sheets.
Gotcha.
So you end up having to remake those, and that's what we're doing now.
Oh, so you're making these beds hold that material. Gotcha.
We actually even make those here off the laser.
Okay.
So that way we can constantly keep the beds refreshed, and then you just put the steel on. All of our exhaust flanges, you can imagine how many of those we make. Those are cut out of this machine. So we'll put it on a couple sheets, turn it on, it'll run all night. We cut out hundreds of exhaust flanges at a time.
Wow. So it's unmanned at night, or do you have staff? Okay.
Because once it's set and programmed, you
don't have to do.
it's just going to cut it all.
So you got sheets of steel, lay them in. The laser does its job.
We're going to kind of walk around and look at the robotic welders. One of the key things about all of our processes are everything is robotically welded or CNC machined, so everything is very precise. And that means, again, every part is the same. and every part is perfect. So we'll head this way.
Yeah, and I've seen that in the product that we run. I mean, your welds are incredible.
And they are, because when you look at this, we're doing some neighbor haters here and getting ready to weld the muffler body to the slip joint.
Right.
And that's a part, if you look on a lot of other mufflers, that tends to be kind of an ugly weld, or a lot of companies have issues with that weld breaking there. That pipe's getting under a lot of pressure and a lot of heat's right there. So we use the robots to do this weld. So again, it's perfect every time because the robot does it the same way.
The bead is perfect, it's clean.
So you can see the robotic arm working in the back, and as soon as it's done, then this table's going to spin around, and it's going to weld these two mufflers while the attendant takes those mufflers off the back side. So
this is really an amazing thing to see here. With there it goes, the big spin. Wow, very cool.
And look at those welds.
So in that process, it welded the slip collar, but it also welded the two brackets on the top of the muffler at the same time. And again, when you look at the quality of those welds and the strength of them, you know, it's just amazing work. Another thing all of our mufflers do is we put the PEM nuts in the muffler, so you don't have to hold a bolt and get a nut started in there. So it makes installation very, very easy.
So this is the Bung Welder.
The Bung Fixture.
The Bung Fixture. And what, he's doing 4 of those at a time?
Yes.
Awesome. And so you got a raw piece that's actually really machined, right? Specifically, everything's the same.
It's formed and bent. It's got the shape for where it goes into the exhaust ports already there.
Right.
And then we're doing...
what is that setup called where they're putting the pipe
That's
in?
the fixture. And that's what makes it all possible, because the robotic welder is going to weld the same way every time. So the fixtures have to be so precise to make sure that everything's located in the right spot.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And so this table spins just like the other one?
Yes.
How many of these welders do you have?
We have 3.
3.
And they run pretty much all day long.
All day long.
But they might not be doing the same thing. You'll finish this job.
How are you doing?
And then do something
Good.
else.
So he was saying this is a 2-step process here, right? You've got to put one bung in, change the fixture, and put the other fixture in and do the other bung.
Right, because if you tried to do both bungs, the welder couldn't get around the fixtures and get it all. So you have to do that in a 2-step, because you know the welder's limited on how it can move and get the rod in there.
And he was saying he may do 300 or 400 welds a day. Or
just
more.
On this job.
Just on that job.
So, and then he'll have another job and do more. So it just depends on what's going on. If we're running neighbor haters, they can do that all day long.
Yeah, very efficient.
This is starting to looks like the power port, the beginning of the power port. So on all of our speedster systems and on the head pipes, we have that H-pipe connector on our older head pipe. So this is the beginning process of building that little collector. So there's a bar, little round steel, so he'll just plug them all in and welds it right then. So it just depends on the process that we're going through, of what's being on the welder.
Very interesting. There's a piece to every puzzle, right?
There is. And all of these bits and pieces are parts of, you know, the production process. Now this is an end cap for another one that'll go in and get welded to the core. And let's see if we have bits.
That almost looks like my end cap.
Yeah, but yours is machined aluminum. This is the one that's inside the pipe that will go inside the neighbor hater. So he's got neighbor haters stacked up. This would go in. So, you know, you got all the different pieces. This is for the Milwaukee 8 motor. That right side muffler's bigger. So this is the slip for a Milwaukee 8 motor. So this will go in and get welded to the core that goes on the back of that.
How does he know? I mean, they put stuff in bins and then they move job to job and...
Yeah, so he'll have a series of job folders. So when he's finished with that job, he gets the next job folder. It explains all the processes and what stage they have to be done. So he'll then do those in their various stages.
And then, so once it comes from, is there a QC area after that, or is there?
Yes, there's QC checks. Whenever they move from one place to another, there's going to be a QC check. Someone's checking there's a barcode scanner that says, okay, this job was for 100 pieces. He did 98 because something might have fallen out or with another piece, so that we track the completed inventory as it moves through the plant as well.
Gotcha.
So when it goes out for processing, we know, okay, we were supposed to make 100 jobs, we got 90, we yielded 98.
Gotcha.
So what we'll do is we'll always build on the schedule, we'll have more in there than we actually need, because you're going to get some fallout. So that's fairly common. And we have just different cores behind here that are getting ready for other jobs. So this is a heat shield for one of our 909 speedster systems. And we were back at the laser, so we cut these clips out on the laser, and they're flat. We bend them on one of our presses, and then again, they're robotically welded in place here. So every one, again, is same place, perfect location, high quality weld.
Yeah.
And this is just the raw steel, and all of this gets polished out before it goes to get chrome plated.
I mean, that's one of the things you and I talked about when we started dealing with Cobra, is how clean the welds were, and you were very impressed with that, because Lance builds exhaust, and pretty interesting.
Well, I definitely like to see the clean welds. It's just quality.
Yeah, quality. USA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is you don't have to feed the robots that much. They can just keep working.
Yeah.
And they don't talk back, Lance?
What?
You said they don't talk back.
They don't talk back.
And Cameron said, yes, they do.
Yeah, sometimes they do, he said.
So these are some of the fixtures that we use, our welding fixtures. So when you look at, when you're using robots, everything has to be perfect for them, because a human welder can make adjustments and move things, but the robots, everything has to be in the same place every time.
Precise.
Otherwise, you'll end up without a weld on the piece. So the fixturing that we do on the front end of that is pretty extensive. So if you look over here, here's a product you guys have had some input in with some of our big racks. You can see how the rack is located in the fixture, held in place, so that the welders can come in behind it and weld either the side plates on or the bars in there. So
once
that's
you have
pretty extensive.
Once you have a design, then you have to build a fixture to match that design so it's consistent every time.
And not only that, but you have to build the fixture in a way that the robot can actually weld to it, because you have to understand how the robot works as well. Otherwise, you'll build a fixture and it won't be able to weld it and get to all the places. So
the fixture guy is really important.
Fixture guy is critical.
Right?
Have they ever welded a product to the fixture accidentally?
No. No. So, but that's pretty much how we do everything these days. And you can see, here's freeway bars. Here's one of the large racks in there. So when it's time to weld the side plates on them, it'll go into a fixture like this. So again, everything just gets located in the right spot. So when we get a customer who calls and goes, it doesn't fit my bike, we dig a little deeper, because everyone's exactly the same. If we get 100 people calling saying it doesn't fit my bike, then we know we did something wrong.
Yeah.
But if one guy has an issue, then that's...
Maybe he's got his docking station or something's a little
Or
off.
his bike might be a little different, the frame might be bent, could be any number of things. These are some of our pneumatic fixtures they have to be lifted by an engine pull. Some of our fixtures are so heavy. And for what we do, for fishtail mufflers, that fixture is just an amazing piece. You need a forklift to move that around. Because we make our own fishtail tips. A lot of people have them sent out, but ours, we form them in two halves like a clamshell, clamp them together, and then weld them, polish them. But that machine is tough.
Wow.
Now we're going to go into R&D and see if we can talk to these guys.
So this is where Ben resides.
This is Ben and Zach and Hank.
We found Ben.
We found Ben.
He's in the R&D room.
This is where it really starts. Everything out there, that's when we're making stuff. So we're taking metal and forming and bending and cutting and welding, but it really starts in here with the design of the products. So, something like our new wraparound racks, those definitely came out of R&D, the whole idea for those things. Ben rides a Dyna and just thought that would be a good way to have some capacity. So a lot of the work that you see on the finished product, it started here in this room.
Yeah, I was going to say, he mentioned that wraparound. This was a little while ago, and it really came from him being a writer,
Exactly.
right? And he's traveling from San Clemente or wherever, and he needed to put his bag.
If you're riding anywhere in Southern California on freeways, if you can find a way to lash more stuff onto your bike, you're doing pretty good.
That was great.
Well, some of the best parts have come from guys that are actually on their bikes and they go, we need to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's,
That's where it comes from, and that's like you guys. You spend enough time on the road, you figure out, this doesn't work.
Right.
It would be better if it did this. And
Right.
our flat rack
Right.
that you guys did is certainly it came out of that use, it coming from riders.
Testing,
so.
yeah. Yep.
So Ben, I don't know if you have anything you can show these guys what you do. Any magic?
I can show you guys some older stuff we've done in the past. This is like our RPT air cleaner system. So that's been out for a while now. We kind of have that for all the different baggers, Dynas, Sportsters, and the new Softail line. So we pretty much designed all of this here and manufacture the majority of it, other than the air cleaner does come from K&N. It's a K&N unit. So, kind of everything starts as a concept, whether it's sketched up on paper or we do it in CAD. And then we kind of take it from there. We build an assembly in CAD, such as this air cleaner, and then, kind of do all the detail work on the individual parts. This is just, say, like the outer ring that just gets machined in our machine shop. And each component kind of has its own detail work where you have the component, but then with the component, there's the other side. That's the actual work of doing the prints that show our machinist how to make it. So everything.
So do they see that electronically, or is that printed out and they see it when they're out on the floor?
We do both. We have these as like PDF files so that
Okay.
the machinist programmers can see it, and then there's actually like smaller versions that get printed out so that as they're making parts, they can just do quick fitment checks with measurements and calipers and stuff like that. So it's just all part of the process. And we have like other systems, like a whole MRP system, where this is kind of like our manufacturing system that keeps everything organized to where we have our part numbers in this that are engineering numbers. We have manufacturing numbers is what we use to take distributor orders and everything like that. That kind of keeps everything organized that you see in here and also out in manufacturing.
Gotcha.
So
Awesome.
That's
Well,
just a small piece of the puzzle.
small piece.
Yeah.
great piece. Great piece of the puzzle.
The artist behind the scenes.
Just one of them.
Just one.
All right, guys, we'll swing over to R&D.
I want to find the fixture guy.
The fixture guy?
He's the most
Yeah.
important person.
That's Hammer Dave, and he's pretty shy. So this is one of those where you can see the fixture that's holding the plates in place, getting ready to weld, so the welder can come in and hit all of those. That's the sort of fixturing you need for something as simple as just the side plate on a rack. But it makes it perfect every time.
So to get the framing right, the tolerances here, you're constantly kind of measuring to make sure that that welder can get in.
Yes, because the welding nozzle has to be able to get in and move around
Right.
all the other fixtures there. So we were just back at the Robotic Welders, and we looked at that little clamp. That's it right here. So this is the power port for the 16 and earlier, for the 09 to 16 baggers. So this piece has to be perfect because it gets robotically welded in, and that into both pipes, and that's the cross over there.
And so the exhaust actually it passes through here.
Right, so it balances the system. So it comes through, actually goes this way.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, so comes in the front side, balances here, and then goes out both sides of the exhaust.
Right.
And again, because of everything's being locked in place with the robots, it makes it pretty easy then to mass produce these.
Now this is just polished.
This is polished, and no, this is flash chrome, because this gets covered up by the heat shields.
Gotcha.
So we just came from where all the raw material. Where do you for chrome and the different? You send that out, or is that
That has
done
to go
here?
out. We have our own polishing facility that's down the road. We don't keep that here because that's a messy job, and it would create such a mess in here. And chroming in California is difficult,
Right,
so
right.
that gets sent out to an outside processor.
And so once it comes back, then is this where we see the assembly of all the different?
It is. So when it comes back in, everything gets checked, first of all, for any dents or scratches. Every piece gets hand inspected, and if there's an issue, then that gets noted, and those parts get set aside. And then they package it for final assembly on the tables here. Everything that we make gets shipped out. We carry very little inventory, so what you see on the table today is either going to be shipped out tomorrow or the next day. So we just keep supplying our distributors on a daily basis. So stuff is going out every day.
Perfect.
We just looked at the head pipe for the 09 to 16 baggers. This is the head pipe for the Milwaukee 8 baggers, for the bikes that you guys ride. So you can see here that it's a 3-piece system. The rear head pipe, the collector, and the right side slip is one piece. The front head pipe and the cross under are separate pieces. So you can easily install this. You can put this in place, you know, get it loosely hanging, put the head pipes on, and the cross under, and you're ready to go. It takes one person to install it, where a lot of systems are one piece, so you end up having to stretch the head pipes around the cylinders, or you can't hold it, it's too heavy. So the way we designed it, it's just real easy for one person to install.
And a pretty, it's this patented scavenger collector for the scavenging, or?
It is. So we found the Milwaukee 8s needed a larger collector to make power. Again, in a relatively stock form. We're talking, you know, stock motors with light cams, air intake, and exhaust. That it needed that extra volume there. So rather than an H collector like on the old one, there just wasn't enough air moving through. So we put this little expansion chamber style piece in there. And when we assemble it, we actually put this heat shield on it first. So when it comes to the customer, this heat shield is already on. So then you put the other heat shields over the top of this thing to give it a nice clean finish.
And they look good when they're on.
They do, and they perform well too.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different from the earlier system.
Right.
But yeah, everything comes out of, when they get a job, it tells them everything they need for that product. And they have people that go into the parts department and bring out all the bits and pieces they need to assemble that, whether it's the screws, the baffles, the tips.
End cap or tips.
Yeah, all of that comes out, and they basically assemble them here and then package them.
Got it.
That all happens right here. So all the stuff that you see on the shelves and behind the wire cages, those are all the nuts and bolts, the clamps, the tips. Everything is staged so that they can be efficient and get it done.
So everybody in here knows every part and how it needs to be and how it needs to look.
Well, for the most part.
Right.
Well, that's what I think.
The supervisors definitely do. So they know which parts, they know which pieces to stage with it. There's a build of materials. So they know, okay, this one gets this sticker, this one gets that sticker, this one gets these clamps. And our hardware kits are usually shrink wrapped, so all those go in the box. So it just depends on, again, the product.
Well, it's interesting because you've got a lot of people in here and they can do multiple functions, you know,
Absolutely.
and it's like you got a lot of specialists.
Yeah, it's nobody just builds one thing. You know, it's not like I work on neighbor haters and that's it. Everybody works on everything.
And I imagine they get into a routine and then it's like, okay, and maybe it changes the pace up when they're working on something different too.
It does. Keeps it. I would think it keeps it interesting,
Right.
Because you're never doing the same thing day to day.
Right.
And what you're working on in the morning is not what you're doing in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like I said, yesterday, all 4 tables were just nothing but neighbor haters.
Gotcha.
All chrome.
And I think there are some neighbors out there that hate them.
Yeah, Ed?
Well, I had a pair of my neighbors hated them.
Yeah.
Good.
Hence the name.
The name, that's what it's all
What
about.
is it? Ride loud?
Ride loud, which is our attitude.
Right, right.
So that's pretty much, you know, the story from front to back. You know, we just do everything in-house. We manufacture everything here. We don't do the chrome plating or the assembly, but everything is made in America. We're proud to be an American company that does all of this stuff.
That's awesome.
And we kept working through 2020 all the time. We instituted safety protocols early on, take everybody's temperature every day. So we maintained social distancing, except the 3 of us.
Right.
So we've managed to keep the company going and working when a lot of other companies really struggled.
Yeah.
And you know, that's made it tough in the motorcycle business because the demand is so great. So a company like ours, it's real easy for us to keep up with demand. It's hard for us to catch up.
Right.
So as long as we can keep up with the demand, we're in good shape.
Because you don't inventory anything. So
Very
you're trying
little.
to get stuff out.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic. I mean, it's great to see how the exhaust that we use is made. And we've put thousands and thousands of miles on it. We enjoy the sound. We enjoy the power. So this has been great, you know?
Well, thanks, guys. You guys have done a lot for us, and we really appreciate that. And, you know, I really think a company like this is a jewel.
Absolutely.
It's a jewel for American manufacturing. So we're proud of what we do and how we do it.
We're proud of what you do as well.
And you, Tim and Ben, very hospitable. Thank you for taking the time with us today.
You're welcome.
Our viewers are going to love this as they see how things are made in the exhaust world. They saw some racks, so that's pretty cool too. We're going to get you on an Instagram live at some point.
That'd be awesome.
Have you come on that and talk
I'd
to our
love to.
viewers a little bit as well.
Absolutely love to.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cameron, and we'll see you,
Well, before we see you down the road, ride loud.
There you go.
and we will see you.
Down the road.
So wasn't that great?
It was so awesome.
Man.
I mean, you know,
Got the tour, you know.
got
It
the
was
tour.
So awesome.
It was
Oh,
great. Hey, that was fantastic, man.
So we want to thank Cameron, Ben, especially Tim, for allowing us to come down here today and spend some time in the warehouse, the manufacturing facility, the corporate office. It was great.
Right, we walked next door, had a burger, finished up, but great tour. I'm full. We're going to hit the road and get back to our studio.
So hit that bell, thumbs up,
Subscribe.
subscribe,
Subscribe to our website, all the
Whoa.
good stuff.
newsletter,
Newsletter.
give us a comment.
Yeah.
We'll see you down the
The
road.
road.